Hi everyone, welcome to my week 4 presentation on multi-generational workforce. So I'm sure we all work in an organization that has multiple individuals that are from different generations. So the generation breakdown, anyone born before 1945 is considered a traditionalist. People born between 1946 1964 are considered baby boomer generation. Generation X are people born between 1965 and 1980, and Generation Y, also known as millennials, are born between 1981 and 2000. And I myself am considered a millennial. I was born in 1987. Now, do I fit in my generation? So for this, I wanted to compare the characteristics, common characteristics of people from Generation X and common characteristics from people from Generation Y or millennials. So Generation X, this generation is known to be very positive. They enjoyed their freedom, very big on protesting. They are impatient. They want to get things done in an efficient manner. They value salary and they also value security in their jobs. Generation Y, they're a lot less loyal than previous generations in terms of loyalty to an organization or loyalty to an employer, although they are a lot more loyal to brands. So there's a lot more branding involved or a lot more brand influence with Generation Y. They're very big on social media and socializing. Generation Y is very adaptive. They could get used to new scenarios in the workplace or in their daily lives. They're very tech savvy, very good with computers and software, and they're a very diverse group. One of the biggest things that I'm proud of being a millennial is I believe Gen Y is very inclusive, a lot, or at least a lot more inclusive than previous generations, which I think is a positive, and we're a change in the right direction. So which does my Gen Y fit my personality and my characteristics? Um, I myself see myself being actually very loyal to whichever organization or department I work in. I value security over salary. I was working at a private research facility, working with mosquitoes before I started working for the water district. And while that was fun, after funding ran out in 4 years, I found myself questioning what my true priorities were. Was it money income based, or was it having a security in a long-term position? And that's kind of why I started looking into public service work. I prefer uniform attire. I think that's just a personal trait of my own. I'd rather just be told what to wear versus deciding what to wear every day. I'm very tech savvy. I love computers, love software. When the whole coronavirus came down, our schedules changed and we started using a lot more media platforms for communication between managers and staff and between different departments. So that was very easy for me to integrate on my day-to-day work activities. Whereas some of my coworkers that are from Generation X, they had a harder time with the new change and the new technology and software. So I was training a lot of staff from different departments on how to use the software on their cell phones and on their computers. And I'm actually very confident in my abilities, which I think is another Gen Y characteristic. Um, we know our strengths and our weaknesses, and we kind of feel very confident in what we're able to do. So my coworkers run the spectrum of the different generations from the very start of Generation X all the way through the very tail end of Generation Y. I myself fall somewhere in the middle of Generation Y. To the left of this picture, my coworker Days, he's at the very beginning of Generation X. And my coworker in the background, John Tay, he's at the very tail end of Generation Y. But I find that each of us have different characteristics from different generations. So even though there's a general description and characteristics of each generation, individually, everybody is a little bit different. And I think that comes from a different spectrum of personalities from each individual, cultural backgrounds, personal values, and political views that kind of shape what kind of attributes each individual picks up from different generations. So managing strategies that could be used at an organization. I agree with the saying that there is no one best way to manage an organization or an agency. There's so many different personalities, different backgrounds, different generations of workforce in any given organization or department. So it's very hard to have just one best strategy or policy in place. I think it has to be very flexible and dynamic management style in order to get everybody on board and heading in the right direction. I strongly believe with Mary Parker Follett's philosophy on it's better to have power with versus power over employees. So when management is able to share some of the authority and responsibilities with the staff, I think there's a lot more innovation and creativity that occurs from the bottom up once employees have access to decision making and responsibility and ownership of their day-to-day activities. And as an example from my work facility, my manager, he's not always at the treatment facilities, so it's up to us employees, operators, to make those day-to-day decisions on what changes to make to the treatment process to improve efficiencies and cost and lower cost for running the facilities. So that enables us to be a lot more engaged in our activities and towards the organization and towards the department as a whole. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a great week.